I want to bring in Peter Kernan, a former Goldman Sachs partner. He's the author of that book, American Mojo. Now, Peter's been talking about ISIS, and he says ISIS is an economic powerhouse, an economic giant. I've not heard that before.
The only way to think about ISIS is as ISIS Incorporated. They have a diversified, multi-billion-dollar source of revenue. They are in the oil business. They are going on smuggling routes that go back literally to the days of Saddam Hussein. They are in the cement business. They are in the cigarette business. They are in all kinds of businesses. In addition, they control millions of people. And by controlling millions of people, it means you can extort money and taxes from them. You can take their business lucre, you can take taxation from them, and they are clever. When they go over, Al-Qaeda used to blow up a power plant when they get it. What these guys do is they'll go into a power plant in Syria, take it over, and sell that electricity back to the Syrian government. These are economic giants, very clever people, and the trick is, where are they investing the money? They are about the highest payer. They outpay the Iraqi army. So they're paying for their talent. But second and more importantly, you look, they're not investing in infrastructure. They're making major investments in technology. You've reported, we've talked about what they do on social media. But they're doing more than that.
You think they're really big in cyberspace?
I think they're huge in cyber.
Their cyber capacity is outstanding? Really?
I think it's a force multiplier. Most people have focused on how good they are at social networking, how good they are at bringing people in with really clever YouTube videos. They've gone beyond that to a much darker place. Now they communicate with a lot of encrypted applications, and they're working on their own, what I would say, industrial-style encryption. And so what is happening, you haven't heard this yet from the FBI, but you will. They are communicating in a way that we can't tap into. We should prepare ourselves for the likely scenario that the bad guys are talking to one another and we can't hear what they're saying. They're investing big in that true killer app.
We promised our audience that we would talk about some of the negatives facing the stock market today. One of those negatives is Germany, which now has a negative interest rate of minus 0.01. It doesn't sound like much, but you give the German government money, they don't give it all back to you. Now, explain this. I've never seen this before in Germany.
Well, it's a party that a lot of people, there are probably $10 trillion of sovereign debt instruments outstanding that carry a negative interest rate. What does that mean? What it means is that I am so desperate to protect my money that I'll give it to somebody who's going to charge me rather than pay me to keep it. And you may wonder, who's buying this? Who's crazy enough to buy this? Banks, a lot of insurance companies and other institutions that have lots of cash they have to put to work have to buy in these treasury markets. I think the 10-year gilt is something like 1% today. So I will pay you 1% for 10 years. And so you have all this negative interest rate. What it really is a combination of two things. A lot of concern about Brexit and other sovereign risks that are all over, not helped by these terrorist attacks, and second, the very aggressive move by the EU to buy back bonds to basically keep the interest rates low.